we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our parts.
So you show up to the United States. You're asking for hundreds of billions of dollars on top of what the Biden administration has already given you. This attire is disrespectful. I always like to speak about what you wear out in public is your uniform. This gentleman here, the President of the United States, this with the tie, cufflinks, JD Vance, tie, suit, jacket, cufflinks. To me, off top, that says serious. This guy here, Mr. Zelensky, is supposed to be a leader of an entire country that is engaged in a war that they cannot win. Now, the backdrop to all of this, we know it's about money. I can do a whole separate video on why Ukraine and Russia is at war. Big bad Russia. Yeah, right. Now, if Ukraine joins NATO, that will help enrich him and his family and his partners, all the people that he care about. But that could start World War III. So that's why that cannot happen. And that's why peace needs to happen in the war with Russia and Ukraine. But back to the disrespect. You're coming in with this attire on, your uniform. This is your uniform. It says to me, you're just on a Saturday afternoon and you're just about to go out to the mall and go shopping and things of this nature. What is this logo here? I should probably get a screenshot of his logo and see what the heck that is. So let's see how this interaction takes place.
Big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So during a lot of years, so I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now the President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact line?
2015.
2014.
2014 and 2014.
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
That's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed with him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you are
Mr.
not
President,
strong-
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Count once.
I've actually watched.
Listen to this entitled, arrogant piece of shit. How are you interrupting the vice president of the country so far that has helped your country not be totally taken off the face of the map? You're interrupting him? What are you talking about with your 5 foot nothing self, dude? The plan is to help save your country, but no, your plan is to enrich yourself. Be damned, everybody else. Just these little peasants. These are people. They don't have billions of dollars like I do. I'm the president.
And seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military?
We have problems.
And do you think that it's
I will
respectful
answer.
to come to the Oval Office
I
of the
will
United
answer.
States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems. Even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't know
God
that.
bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
Damn
we're trying
right.
to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
That's
I'm
right.
not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on this
position to
question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're
doing. I'm not
You're
dictating.
in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a
Brown,
good position.
I
You don't
was
have
in
the
a-
cards right now. With us, you start
I'm
having
not playing
cards.
cards.
But right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
Listen to this little minute piece of shit. You got the most powerful man in the world because he is commander-in-chief of the most powerful military, not to mention he's the reason, not him, his predecessor, the geriatric guy that couldn't put two sentences together, but nonetheless, still, this country is the reason that we still have a Ukraine. And you're sitting there so disrespectful, interrupting the man when all he's saying is save your country. Whatever land that you have lost, you just gonna have to take this L because you can't win, right? Even with the United States, you can't win. It can just go on longer, more people die, and all these things with the United States. If you go it alone, like you say, you've been alone, which you haven't, you're done in a couple of weeks at this point.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think-
You're gambling with World War III.
what do you
You're
think
gambling
about?
with
What do you
World
think
War
about?
III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful
shut
to
up,
the country,
dude.
this country.
I'm
That's
with
back
all
to
respect to
you.
your
Far
country.
more than a lot of people said
very
they
respect.
should have.
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting,
today.
have you said thank
Even
you?
today.
You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for
what-
the United States
what
of
are you
America
speaking about?
and the president.
For the record, this guy, he's a beast. Loving some JD Vance. Loving some JD Vance. You got anything bad to say about JD Vance? Come see me.
Who's trying to save your country.
please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war, you
He's
can...
not speaking loudly. He's not
Yeah.
speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No.
Can
You've
I
done a lot
answer?
of talking. Your country
Done
is
a lot
in
of
big trouble.
That's
know.
right.
You're not
I
winning.
know.
You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of
we are
coming out
staying,
okay because of
Mr.
us.
President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
You haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this
We
cabinet.
gave you, through
I
this
said thank
stupid
you.
president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment.
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if,
West
if
Virginia?
you didn't have
You
our
invited
military
me-
equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In
2
3
weeks,
days,
I said
heard
it. 2
from
weeks.
Putin. In 3 days. This is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I tell you.
Just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
accept that
thank
there,
you
accept
to
that,
American people.
accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on
I
over
understand,
there.
sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't, please,
you're running
Mr.
low on
President.
soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And then
President.
then you tell us, I don't want to.
So I'll just say this. There's a quote that came out recently that is so true. To be a friend of the United States. What did they say? Hold on. Let me get this quote right. Oh, here's the quote. To be an enemy of the United States is dangerous. To be a friend to the United States is fatal.
want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what-
that
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means. It
That was
wasn't
with
with you.
a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person.
This
That
is
was
your,
with,
this
that was
is
with
your
Obama.
president. It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
Caitlin, I do want to, because there were a lot of things that were just not true, aside from just the tone and tenor and the monumental, historic, not in a good way, historic event that we just saw in the Oval Office. Caitlin, it really did seem to devolve when the vice president said to Zelensky, we just want diplomacy. And what Zelensky was trying to do was say, we had that. We had a deal with Russia. We had an agreement, the Minsk agreement, and Russia didn't abide by it. So I want some guarantees that that won't happen again. And then it devolved in a way that is really, really remarkable. The screaming, I mean, you have been with Donald Trump a lot. We have seen.
Okay. There was no screaming. A masculine man sitting up there being direct, talking to someone that is in a diminished position, as this Zelensky person is, coming into the United States, into the White House, the symbol of this country, trying to make demands, trying to overtalk the president and the vice president in a fucking 1987 jumpsuit, asking for hundreds of billions of dollars. What the fuck are we talking about? This dude is in no position to say anything but yes and okay. That's all he should be saying. Will you accept the ceasefire? Yes. And whatever territory that Russia has taken, are you good with that? Yes. All right, our meeting is done here. All right. Okay. That's all this dude should be saying. He should not be saying anything else, but he's so emboldened by people like this and CNN and some of the other liberal European countries who are not supporting him as much as the United States is. Right. So if you don't want to capitulate to the United States demands, go get help from Europe, NATO. Go get help from them or fight it alone. I guarantee you nobody's gonna give you the support that the United States has already given you, because they would have already. It's just simple as that. This is simple mathematics as far as this goes. Man, I wanna this guy, you got some nerve.
And heard about Trump getting upset and losing his temper. I think this is probably the first time we have seen it like this on camera. We also should say, Caitlin, that let's just be clear. I'm not saying that there wasn't genuine anger here, but
see, this is what I'm talking about. She's saying Trump getting upset and losing his temper. I didn't see that. I can see Trump pretty much thinking just like I'm thinking, who the fuck are you to come in here? But he kept his frame, because I would have been like, dude, the fuck you talking about? But Trump is so schooled in the business. Trump just make deals all over the place. Obviously, he much more schooled than that. He much more older than I am in that. And he kind of has to be that way. I don't. He didn't get upset. Trump didn't get upset. He didn't lose his temper. He just pretty much telling this guy, look, you're in no position to be talking how you're talking. And quite frankly, in my opinion, he's acting kind of feminine. Looking all off to the side. His body language is such liberal.
he understands when the television cameras are there, as does JD Vance. And we can't lose sight of the performance aspect of this.
It was incredibly genuine, though. I mean, JD Vance said that this shouldn't be litigated in front of the press. Trump said, actually, no, it should be. I'm glad that this is happening. And, you know, the way that this built, just to give context of the 40 minutes that happened before what you just watched, the most remarkable part of this interaction was there were moments where President Zelensky would do what we saw the other European leaders do this week, where they step in to correct either on aid to Ukraine or to talk about Putin and the fact that he can't be trusted. At one point, Zelensky called him a killer and saying that there should be no compromises with him. And the U.S. officials were sitting there just kind of listening to this. And it was at that point, though, where Vice President Vance stepped in. Trump was silent at the beginning of that, and then Trump also got involved. And then they were just essentially yelling at one another in this. And with Trump, all of his diplomacy, we know, is personal.
Yelling? There was no yelling whatsoever. The fact that Mr. Leisure Suit here, tracksuit, whatever you want to call it, said that JD Vance was yelling, says a lot about him. Feminine. And who corroborated what this tracksuit wearer was saying is what? A woman. There is no yelling. This is yelling! There was no yelling.
That's why the world leaders who have come here this week have tried to flatter him to essentially get what they want when it comes to negotiating the end of this. And that was not what we just saw, the tack that Zelensky took here. He was, as Zelensky typically is, straightforward in his opinions and what is the reality on the ground, and was kind of chastising Vice President Vance for not having come to Ukraine. And at one point earlier, when Trump was asked if he would go to Ukraine, Zelensky was saying that was what he was going to ask Trump as well. He's been very, he's emphasized a lot that he thinks these U.S. officials need to be there. But to give you a sense of how this negotiation is going, right now they are meeting behind closed doors.
And they don't need to be there. All they need to look at is the receipt for the transaction. And look at the actions of this clown. This is 2025. Any information or anything else that you need, you can get. You don't have to be there. What good is that going to do? That's not going to do any good. What, you want them to go over there and see that because the president of Ukraine is a fucking idiot? Do you want them? You gonna take them to the hospitals where he's allowing his soldiers to be killed, which he's running low on them? What, you're trying to pull at someone's heartstrings? Liberal. Goodness gracious, just do. Well, I'm about to ask the rhetorical question because we know the answer. These liberals and these Democrats and their propaganda and their mouthpieces, they don't care about the United States. That's why they're defending this little boy here.
Doors. They're supposed to come out for a press conference any minute now, and that's where they're signing that minerals agreement that they've been touting as a big first step here. There are real questions about what this looks like going forward, because you heard what President Trump said to me there at the end. I asked, can the two of you still go in a room and negotiate after what just happened? And he said, we'll see, essentially. And Dana, there was one moment where I looked around the room at the officials who were there. It's the top Ukrainian advisors, the Secretary of State to President Trump, the Treasury Secretary, Vice President Vance, obviously. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United States had her head buried in her hands as this shouting match was going on between the three of them.
Yes, I saw you put that on social media. It is one of the many. There you go. We're putting it up on the screen now. That is the Ukrainian ambassador, as you said.
This is what are we doing? Where is this shouting match at? We've got to a point in the United States and the Western countries. This is how men communicate. We just tell you what it is. Where the fuck was the shouting? I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. I've looked at several different videos, several different angles, different inflections of the audio and all of these type of things. Shouting? Masculine. This is what I see is they're basically calling this toxic masculinity, because one of the traits of a feminist person is over talking. You have to listen to understand and just don't listen to respond. Not only that, you're not even listening. You're just over talking people because you don't have a point. So basically, at the end of this, what happened is Donald Trump kicked Vladimir Zelensky. I'd be like, look, you little bitch, you just leave. Go on back to Ukraine. And I'm sure you're going to have to think about what you did here today and what you've been doing over the last 3+ years. And if you don't get in line of what we need you to do, you're going to lose, which you're losing right now.